On December 15th, 1979, Michael McDermott, a 25-year-old mail handler at the Jersey City Bulk, was trapped in a conveyor belt and crushed to death. "200 postal workers attended the funeral.
The particular machine that Mike McDermott, we just found this out from at the OSHA inspection, found that all the limit switches and the relays, that if somebody got jammed, the machines were removed years ago so that the mail wouldn't stop moving. And also, there was no shin guard on the machine, and there was no limit switch. But the main damn thing, if there was a shin guard there, he could have locked his body, maybe his arm or his leg, and he wouldn't have got sucked entirely into the machine. But the thing we found out that really makes us mad is that there's a jam relay inside the machine that was removed, so that if a box or a body got stuck in there, it would stop, but they took it out. "15 postal workers die on the job each year. But Michael McDermott's death was different. It came in the wake of a long and hard struggle in which health and safety was an important issue.
Well, there was a mail handler working a truck in an outbound extendable conveyor. He got caught in the conveyor belt. The safety limit switch on the front end side of the conveyor belts are wired out as a matter of routine because they interfere with production, and the guy was killed. He was sucked right into the conveyor belt and ripped apart.
Had you complained to management about the safety condition before?
Oh, many times. There was a foreman that covered the same area and shut down the bays for them being unsafe. He was demoted because he shut down those very bays for they were unsafe. He was demoted to being a clerk.
Why did you decide to come out here and demonstrate tonight?
Because we felt the need to. We felt the need to expose this and like show people like that the post office is a very, has a lot of safety hazards in it. And we want to show everybody that, we just want to show everybody this.
They haven't heard the end of this. They're not going to kill one of ours and get away with it with nothing happening in this place.
No cover up.
The workers forced politicians to hold a congressional hearing. However, they had to chant outside the doors for 30 minutes before they were admitted.
Let the workers in! 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 Let the workers in!
The hearings began on January 7th, 1980.
Honorable Congressman and my husband's fellow workers. My husband Michael was a good family man and he was a hard worker. He never did complain about the conditions which prevailed, such as heavy sacks and belts continuously going and never stopping. He was told to go back to work or else he would be fired. I will never understand until the day Michael was killed why he ever stayed on that job. He would come home at night complaining about his back and how his gloves and his pants were caught and torn because of the conveyors being stripped of its safety devices. Who is to blame for my husband's death? Are the postal supervisors to blame? Maybe they didn't care and wanted the mail sacks out. Is it not their duty to check these conveyor belts periodically themselves? Is this what a life is worth at the Postal Service, a sack of mail? My plea is that the bulk center where my husband was killed be made safe for all workers so that the workers can work free of fear of being injured or killed. Some will forget my husband, Michael McDermott, after this. But all I have left is memories and snapshots of him. My daughter will never know who her daddy was. My husband was my whole life. They not only took his, but they also took mine and my daughter's. Thank you.
It has been brought out and will be further proved that postal management from bottom to top had repeatedly been made aware of the dangerous safety hazards, yet refused to take corrective action. We are here today to demand that Bolger and his accomplices, including Gallione, the general manager, Frank Schmidt, the former general manager, Dee Chiaranti, the director of mail processing, Bojan, manager of plant maintenance, and the rest of the local bulk management and postal inspectors involved, be held accountable for their criminal negligence and face criminal charges for the death of Mike McDermott.
If you have been making an inspection and your safety people have been inspecting the plant, how do you justify the fact that there are 12 serious violations on Bay 23 that were outlined by OSHA in the report?
There's no way I can defend that.
And isn't it true that right after the accident, there are other conveyor belts that were taken offline the next day because they also were defective?
Oh, yes. Yes, we took, as a matter of fact, Congressman, even today there are bays that do not, that have these particular problems, but they are not being used.
But you took 11 bays off the line as a result of the accident that happened on Bay 23. They could close other portals the next day?
Oh, I think we took a lot more than 11 off the line.
Why did you take them off the line, sir?
Because they did not meet what OSHA was indicating was a problem.
How come these avoided your inspections if inspections were in fact made by you and your safety people?
Well, again, you say made by me. Unfortunately, Congressman, I cannot give you any reasons why they were in the condition they were.
Who is responsible for the policy in the New York bulk plant? Is it you, Mr. Jellison, or is it Mr. Bolger? Where does the buck stop, sir, in your opinion?
I guess the buck stops at the installation head, I would imagine, myself.
The supervisor is to establish the severity of the potential hazard. Some, the equipment is not to be used till it's fixed. Some, it can be used in a different mode, and some it can be, you have an abatement period of X number of days. And that's a process that should be followed.
So therefore, it's up to the whim of the plant manager as to whether or not a person is to work on defective equipment or not.
The whim? There is no procedure. I can't answer the question with that terminology. It's not up to the whim of the plant manager.
Well, is there any other procedure within the plant that can shut down the equipment, or that the employees would not be forced to work on defective equipment if the plant manager so saw fit?
If the plant manager determined that it was safe enough to work, would we work it? Is that the question?
That's right.
Yes, we would.
And if the man did not accede to the directive of the plant management, would he be dismissed?
He would be ordered to operate the equipment, and then his procedure would be to file a grievance.
Then there is no check and balance system to protect the working man that's set up in that plant, is that correct? That the authoritative head, the bureaucratic chief, is whatever the plant manager, who just testified that he knows nothing about safety, that he is not an engineer, is to make this determination. Is that what you're telling this committee, sir?
That's what I'm telling this committee, sir.
And you feel that the dismissal of 156 employees has contributed to the lack of the morale?
No.
Do you feel that safety is tied up with morale?
Yes.
And that it is part of having a productive and safe place to work, to have a good spirit, decor, morale in the plant?
Yes.
What is done to raise the level of the morale in the plant today, sir?
Since Mr. Gallione has gone out there, I repeat, and I think it is important in morale, that housekeeping has improved.
They swept up. When you go to work at the Balk Center, you are going to work for an employer whose main method of dealing in employee relations is repression. It's outright repression. And so the employee's attitude, and Mrs. McDermott laid this out, I think no one could do it better, is, Jesus, it's unsafe, but I gotta have a job, I got a family, I gotta do it. I was fired for 9 months. I came back and foreman up and down the line were telling people, you don't follow what we tell you, which includes working in unsafe conditions, you'll be out there the way they are. And to a man, everybody at work knows that these people that were fired unjustly for standing up against management and around the safe conditions.
It's very difficult to talk. Just glad it's over, and I just hope it proves something, really, that's all.
I see you have an amnesty button on. Why did you put the amnesty button for the 5 workers on?
Because I think something should be done about it for them. I support them.
On January 9th, 1980, Gallione resigned as manager of the Jersey City Bulk. But Gallione was just a scapegoat. Bolger and other top management are responsible for conditions in the Postal Service. The fight won't be over until all the fired workers get their jobs back, until no one is forced to work a 60-hour week, until no one gets killed by management neglect.
Was first to report a mailman getting shot and killed on his route in Prince George's County. This happened on Reed Street in Fairmount Heights earlier tonight. News 4's Darcy Spencer is live there now with much more. Hi, Darcy. What can you tell us?
Well, Erica, I spoke to several of this man's co-workers, federal postal workers, fellow postal workers who came here to the scene to find out exactly what had happened. And many of them were very upset. They say that they have been complaining for some time about their job being dangerous, having to deliver mail here in the dark. And they're hoping this tragedy will bring about change.
We're having to lose a letter courier like that. We are out here working hard and have to be out here unsafe. It could have been me.
Postal workers arrive at the scene where a fellow mail carrier was shot and killed while making deliveries.
The issue is letter couriers being out here late at night and being in Landover in a high crime area. And we have had couriers robbed in Landover before.
The carrier was shot just before 7:30 in the evening on Reed Street in Fairmount Heights near the border with Cheverly in Prince George's County. One resident told me she heard about 5 shots.
Safety. Post office not caring about us. That's what's going through my mind. And it's not just us, it's UPS, it could be anybody. It could have been me.
News crews were kept away from the scene, but you could see from a distance detectives near the victim's mail truck. The motive for the shooting is still unknown.
We've been asked to come in early to get us off these streets early because it's dangerous.
The victim's co-workers are sad and angry. They hope this death will bring about change to make their jobs safer.
The post office won't bring us in earlier, and it's no concern for the courier. It's all about the mail. And this right here, hopefully, it'll open up some eyes for the people up top. The letter safety is a very bad issue right now.
Prince George's County Police are still here on scene investigating. Again, we don't know what the motive was or what happened leading up to the shooting. And so far, the victim's identity has not yet been released. Reporting live from Cheverly, Darcy Spencer, News 4.